What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiance Season 11, Episode 15, Proof of Love. Let's get started with Sarper and Shakina. So they first start off by telling us that Sarper's mom, because they were talking about how they're going to be getting tattoos, and Sarper is going to get Shakina's lips tattooed on his neck. And so one of them had mentioned, I think it was Sarper, he told Shakina that his mother wanted to get lip fillers after she saw Shakina's lips. And that really blew my mind because I was like, wow, somebody looked at Shakina's lips and said, I want that. I want exactly that. Anywho, so they go to a tattoo shop. Sarper, like I said, is going to get Shakina's big lips tattooed on his neck, and Shakina is going to get his name tattooed on her neck. So Shakina initially, I don't know if she was being serious about this or she was joking around, but she said that she initially wanted his name tattooed on her face, like along her jawline. And Sarper told her, no, please don't do that. And she was like, well, what better way to show how I am committed to you by having your name tattooed on my face? I pray to God that Shakina was just joking about that. So they're doing these tattoos because Sophie had given her, to me, it was like more so like a half approval uh, to Sarper and Shakina's union. So they showed us a clip of Shakina talking to her daughter on FaceTime, and Sophie was basically like, she told her mom, if you're happy, I'm happy. If this is what you want, then fine, girl, you do you, and I'll always love you and support you. That's how it came across to me. It wasn't so much as I really love Sarper. I think Sarper is great for you. I don't see you with any other man but Sarper. He's fantastic. It was just basically like, well, mom, if this is what you're going to do, you're going to do it anyway. So whatever, I support you. So the name that they had, the name that she had, the way that the tattoo looked on her neck, it was like barely there. It was like, to me, it was like she didn't want to go all out, maybe because she really didn't want some big, humongous tattoo on her neck. But still, it could have been a little bit bigger. It was almost kind of like she wanted his name there, but really didn't want his name there. And then with him getting her lips tattooed on his neck, I was like, that's such a common everyday type of tattoo. It's not screaming, I'm with Shakina, like the way his name is screaming, I'm with Sarper on her neck. So him getting the lips tattoo or her lips tattooed on his neck, in LA, big lips or a dime a dozen. So it could have been anybody's lips on his neck, not necessarily Shakina. So there was nothing unique about that tattoo. So even if they did break up, it's like it's not going to be a big deal because it's just a pair of ambiguous lips on his neck. Now, if they did get broken up, she still has his name on her neck, regardless of how small and how faint it is. She still has his name on her neck. So she's going to have to go through the process of either getting it removed or having it covered up. But him having lips on his neck, it's like it's no big deal. You know what I mean? Later on, they meet with Shakina's friends. And they meet with the friends because they want to tell her friends that they're basically not going to be invited to their wedding because Sarper and Shakina are going to have like an intimate type of wedding and they're not going to be invited. I think that's what it was. I really didn't understand what was going on. Like, if you're going to have an intimate wedding, why don't you just tell your friends from the get go, we're going to have a very small, very private, intimate wedding. It's just going to be our family there or something. I didn't know why it had to be like a big deal where you have to take them out to dinner just to tell them they're not invited to your wedding. So while they're there, one of the friends mentions the prenup and had asked Shakina, is she going to go through with the prenup? And when this was brought up, it completely turned Sarper off because I guess he doesn't like the idea of them having to sign a prenup, the usual of, you think I'm after your money, why isn't this about love, it's more about legality, so on and so forth. So in my personal opinion, I don't think that a man should have a problem signing a prenup because a man should not be after a woman's money or shouldn't be expecting to be taken care of if the marriage does end by the woman. The men who go after their wives or much more successful wives for alimony is just beyond me. So I would think that Sarper shouldn't have a problem with signing a prenup because, he thinks that he's very masculine, that he's very manly. And so a very manly thing to do is to sign the damn prenup to prove to your woman that you will never go after her money if this marriage should fail. So I don't know why he made a big deal about it. So he said that in order for him to sign the prenup, which he's totally against, but if she really wants him to sign it, he was like, okay, I'll sign it, but I want to insert a clause. I want to put in something for myself, which is he wants her to maintain her weight of 128 pounds throughout the duration of their marriage. And if she goes 1 pound above, or for any pound above 128, she'll have to pay a fine of $1,000 per pound. This whole thing is ridiculous. The friends were gasping. They're like, oh my God, Sarper, I can't believe that you would require that of her. This is a way of him trying to control you, Shakina. How can you put up with this? And she kind of just basically shrugged it off. And she was like, I'm already 128 pounds. So what's the big deal? It's like telling me to wash the dishes and the dishes are already washed. So to her, I don't know if she really understood that it's got nothing to do with whether or not you can maintain 128 pounds throughout the duration of your marriage, or I don't think she really got that this is a way of him trying to control you. I don't know if she really understood that. You could probably maintain 128 pounds with no problem. If you go a little bit above, she'll probably just go to her plastic surgeon and get it sucked right out of her. So it's like really no big deal to her. Or, a shot of Ozempic will take care of that. But it's just a method of him trying to exude some type of control over you. So she was like, it's no big deal, y'all. This is just how Sarper is. He's upset that I want him to sign a prenup. And so this is his way of retaliating. Y'all calm down. It's no big deal. And the friends didn't see it that way. They're like, Shakina, this is just awful. And, you can't accept this. So the friends are going on and on and on. And Sarper had enough. So he gets up and he actually walks away. I don't know where he went, but he actually leaves. In his confessional, Sarper tells us that, of course, me demanding her to stay at 128 pounds is ridiculous. But it's also ridiculous that she wants me to sign a prenup. So basically, two can play at this game. If she wants to be petty, I can be petty too. But Sarper, really, go ahead and sign that prenup. It's no big deal. You don't want to look like that type of dude that sues his woman for money and spousal support and spousal maintenance and stuff like that. That's just kind of tacky. Moving on to Maddie and Stevie. So it's the day after the bachelorette party. Maddie is being very, very quiet as they're packing up their room to head back to Mississippi. And Maddie tells us that the burlesque show was a little bit too much for him. Okay, so that's why he's being really, really quiet. So he's beginning to have some serious second thoughts about rushing this wedding. And he's kind of thinking, maybe we are kind of rushing into this. Maybe we're not ready to get married. So he meets up with his cousin who sprinkles even more doubt, not even sprinkle, like pours even more doubt into Maddie's mind about getting married to Stevie. So the cousin is still harping on this whole thing that she's probably bisexual. And what are you going to do if you marry her and you find out after the fact? And Maddie was kind of like, well, I'm just going to have to deal with it the best way that I can. If I find out after we're married that she's actually bisexual. And then the cousin is like, okay, I guess the cousin was like, well, if that's not going to work to turn him off to this whole wedding thing, well, let me bring up how deceitful Stevie is. So the cousin talks about how, Stevie lied. She lied to you so many times. Like she lied about, she wasn't very upfront with him in certain areas. For example, she didn't tell her dad about the fact that, he was coming to the United States and they were going to be getting married. She withheld that from her father. There are some other things that she really wasn't upfront with. So the cousin is really trying to drive in this doubt into Stevie's mind, which to me, I was just kind of like, y'all, I'm not a big fan of that. I think when two people are in a relationship, just leave them alone. Leave them alone. Don't force them to try to break up with the other because you yourself don't agree with certain things that are going on in their relationship. This is their relationship. Let them deal with it the best way they can. Unless someone is, being abused, like seriously abused, or there's something like that going on, something really major where their safety is at risk, their life is at risk. If it's just your normal everyday couple stuff, leave these people alone. Let them figure it out. So it's the night before their wedding. They are back in Mississippi, and they're going to be staying at this mansion, which is like a bed and breakfast place of where they're going to be staying at during their wedding, I think. And once again, once they get up to their room, they get in bed. Marty is like, there's something that's been bothering me, and I have to tell you about it. And Stevie's like, okay, lay it on me. And Marty asks her one more time, are you bisexual? So she starts to crying and getting emotional. She does everything under the sun except answer the damn question. Marty and Stevie were bored. We are bored to death with this storyline of whether Stevie is or isn't bisexual. We are bored to tears. At this point, we don't care. It really doesn't matter to us anymore. Why she just can't give him a straight answer, I don't know. Why he keeps harping at it if she's not going to give him a straight answer, I don't know. At this point, one of y'all needs to make a decision. Either y'all are going to just move forward with it or go your separate ways. Moving on to Matt, Amani, and Anie. So Matt and Amani are still trying to figure out what are they going to do with Anie. Like, do they move forward with her? Do they put a pause on this? What are they going to do? They think that Anie is not taking them very seriously because she doesn't give them her real name. She hides a lot of stuff about herself from them. She hides them from her family, not really telling her family exactly what's going on between the three of them. And so Matt and Amani are like, we're thinking about divorcing, getting a divorce just so that we can include her in our family. So they're like, she's not taking this seriously at all. So Ani is really fired up. She's really upset. And she gets a call from Ani, and Ani wants to talk. She wants to meet up with them and have a conversation about what happened. So they're like, okay, cool. And Ani says she's going to bring her own translator, which is like her cousin or a friend or something who's going to be able to help with the communication. So once they're all situated, you got the translator there. Ani starts off by saying that she wanted to tell them her full name, but didn't think that it was important in the beginning. I'm like, what? Okay, remember she was a stripper. They met her at a strip club. So maybe at that time she was like, okay, I don't know what's going on with these people, like, where this is going to go. So I'm going to give them a fake name. Okay, fine, understood. But as the relationship progressed and it was more than just a casual encounter, I'm thinking at some point you would have wanted to be a little bit more upfront with them, as in by giving them your real name. Okay, you are in a relationship with these people. These people have come from the United States to Mexico to spend time with you. They're talking about marrying you. They want you to be a part of their family. Wouldn't you think that at that point you would have told them what your real name was? In the beginning, I get it. You're just having a good time. You probably thought you would never see these people again. So why give them your real name? But as things started to build and grow between the three of y'all, you would have thought that at some point you would have given them your real name. So, Ani then says that she was a victim of abuse. I guess in her former marriage, her husband was abusive, and she couldn't put anything under her married name, so she had to create this other name, and so that she could be able to own things, I guess, or get things under her name. Okay, girl, that's your business. That's your stuff. That does not explain why you wouldn't have given these people that you are in a relationship with, given them your real name. We understand, like, the laws in Mexico make it to where you, as a whatever you were, a divorcee, whatever, and there's all this legality stuff and you can't get stuff under your marriage. Okay, girl, fine. But you're in a relationship with these people. That's got nothing to do. This relationship's got nothing to do with you trying to obtain things under your name. You're in a relationship with them. Okay, as far as you can tell, they're being upfront and honest with you. Why can't you do the same with them by at least telling them your real name? Man and Amani fall for it. Okay, she starts to crying, she gets emotional, and they fall for it. And they're like, "Oh, we didn't know, and if we knew, then we wouldn't have gone so hard on her if we only knew the truth of what she had been through." Okay, whatever. They're like, oh, and I can't believe that we actually thought that she was trying to swindle us. She probably still is trying to swindle. Well, I mean, come on now, the tears and all of that. Don't you think that's part of her manipulation tactics? Like, y'all are dumb. Matt and Amani, y'all are dumb. Y'all think that because of whatever she was going through is an excuse for her not giving y'all her real name. Okay, y'all spent money on her. Y'all were sending her money, supporting her lifestyle, spent money to come see her in Mexico. And at no point did she feel like it was necessary for her to be honest with who she really was. Okay. So then they make her promise to always be honest with them. And then Amani also makes her promise that when she introduces them to her family, that she will introduce them as her boyfriend and her girlfriend. And not just, this is my boyfriend, this is my friend, Amani. She's like, you better tell them that I'm your girlfriend as well. And Ani was like, yeah, okay. They fell for the okie doke, hook, line, and sinker. Moving on to Sean and Aaliyah. So Sean comes to Aaliyah and asks her to sign the damn prenup. Is this like the third prenup we've seen this season so far? Yeah, it is. Because we have Mark and Mina, they have a prenup. We have Shakina and Sarper, supposedly, allegedly, Shakina is going to make him sign a prenup. Who knows with them what's real and what's not real. And now we have Sean and Aaliyah. So Sean comes to Aaliyah with the paperwork, with the documents for her to sign. And Sean says that out of all the things that's been bothering him with this relationship, the prenup has been his biggest worry. And so he needs to get this out of the way quick and in a hurry. So he tells her, I have supported you during your transition from Douglas to Aaliyah. I stood by your side. So I'm going to need you to do this one thing for me. So Aaliyah says, you think I just want to steal your money? And Sean says, look, I've worked hard to build what I have, to accumulate all the things that I've accumulated to be where I'm at right now in life. So this is for my protection. And he tells her the prenup also benefits you as well. And I wish they would have talked about that a little bit more because I was curious, like how, I don't doubt that it does, but I just wanted to know, like, in what ways did it benefit Aaliyah? Because everybody thinks that a prenup is very one-sided, and I think that a prenup can benefit both parties. So I was just curious to know, how would it benefit Aaliyah? Does she get a certain amount of money depending on how long they can be married? Does she get a certain amount of money depending on whether or not, like, on who is the one that files for divorce? So if he ends up leaving her, is she guaranteed a certain amount? And if she stays married to him for so many years, X amount of years, is she guaranteed a certain amount? Does that amount go up the longer she stays married to him? I was just curious. So Aaliyah takes the prenup to a lawyer. We don't see this, but she mentions this to Sean, that she took it to a lawyer who could translate it for her in Portuguese. And even through all of that, she's still having doubts about signing it. They end up going to Sonoma, where Sean's mother lives. And I guess that's where the wedding is going to be taking place, out there in Sonoma. So when they get there, they bring up the prenuptial agreement to the mother, to Sean's mother. And the mother asks, well, what happens if Aaliyah doesn't sign it? And Aaliyah says, well, we're just going to have one big party on the day of our wedding. It's not going to be a wedding. It's just going to be a party. And then I'm going to go back to Brazil. And Sean is just like, yep, that's about right. He's like, yeah. Sean, I feel like he's not going to let that go. And I wonder if there's anything in the prenup regarding her transition. I forgot to pay attention to that part. If he mentioned that, like if she gets bottom surgery, is it over? And then she walks away with nothing. I'm just very curious about the details of that damn prenup, but it's none of our business. Moving on to Juan and Jessica. So to add a bit of Juan's Colombian culture into the wedding, Megan is back. Megan brings material to make paper flowers. At least they're going to be the color of the Colombian flag, because Juan was like, well, paper flowers have nothing to do with my culture. And so they're like, okay, we'll just make it in the same colors as the Colombian flag. And that's how we're going to incorporate your culture into the wedding. I thought they would have been doing something a little bit more than that, like a certain Colombian tradition, wedding tradition. But no, there's just going to be some paper mache flowers in the color of the Colombian flag. So then Megan brings up Juan wanting to go back on the cruise. And Megan says that cruise life is not for him anymore. Okay. Megan's spoken. Okay. She's made the decision in their relationship with what they're going to do in their own relationship. Megan has spoken. Later on, Jessica and Juan are in bed and they're talking about him wanting to get back on the cruise. And Jessica once again gives him the same ultimatum that she did when they went away for their bachelor and bachelorette party. If you want to go on the cruise, I'm happy for you, but we're done. We're over. So it's either going to be your family or it's going to be the cruise, because he's going to be gone for 8 months out of the year. And he's going to be missing out a lot on his son growing up, a whole lot. He will forever be like a stranger to this boy. So he decides that, okay, I don't want to lose my family, so I'm not going to get back on the cruise, which is, I guess is good for him. I hope he's going to be happy doing something else other than that. I hope he can find a job that's going to be fulfilling for him. Joan and Greg, not much happened with Joan and Greg. Greg did end up paying the dowry of $3,000. And so to celebrate that, he got dressed up in a cow suit. And after that, Joan's bachelorette party. So one of her friends had arranged for them to go to a female strip club. And I guess Joan had the time of her life. And she was there sitting next to her mother-in-law while the stripper was bouncing her butt up and down in Joan's face. That was hilarious. And that's my review. This was like a filler episode, y'all. Not much happened. But thank you for joining me anyway. I truly do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, subscribe to my channel. And I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.